Hello, everyone. This is Jessica Brigden of Just Be Creative Cardiology. Hello and welcome. I'm coming to you today with a special video because I wanted to announce as well as to thank all of you because I have officially earned Stampin' Up's incentive trip to the Norwegian Fjords. So as you can see, I have this fun virtual background here. It's a stock image I found on Google um, of Norway. But this trip will take place in May of 2023, and we will be flying to Southampton, England, and then sailing on Royal Caribbean's Anthem of the Seas up to Norway and make 4 stops at different ports in Norway to see the fjords. So David and I are super, super excited. And I just want to thank you all so much. Thank my customers because your online orders really do make a difference. These trips are earned through a combination of personal sales as well as team building. And so many, many thanks to my loyal customers and to my creative cardiology team because I could not have done this without all of you. And it really is all of this coming together that I just want to say thank you guys so much. I really, really do appreciate it. And I know this is going to be such an exciting trip. David and I have never been to England, and we've certainly never been to Norway. So it's an adventure that we're definitely really, really looking forward to. And so I have made a card in honor of this achievement, this announcement that I wanted to share with you. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of switch my screen here. I'm trying some new technology, so we'll see how this goes. All right, so hopefully you can still hear me as well as see my screen, but this is my card in honor of our upcoming trip to Norway. And so you can see here I have, of course, the mountains with the waterfall coming down. I've got the little colorful houses in the little village, and it, of course, is going to be fabulous. So what I have here, I'd like to show you because there's a lot of elements on this card, but really the foundation is quite simple. So I'll put this here. We are going to start with some Tahitian tied cardstock. Now this is a typical half sheet, but instead of cutting it at 5.5, I've cut it at 4.25 instead. I've cut it lengthwise. So this is 4.25 by 11. And we are going to fold it there at the 5.5 inch mark and go ahead and give it a nice smooth fold there. Okay, so the next element is a contrasting layer of crumb cake cardstock. All right, so we're just going to adhere this directly to our card base. All right, so this is 4 by 5.25. All right, and then the next layer will be basic white. Again, 1/4 inch smaller. So this is going to be 3 3/4 by 5, but I'm not going to glue it down quite yet because we have some stamping to do. All right, so the main feature of this card here is the Waterfall Canyon stamp set and dies. So this stamp set, Waterfall Canyon, is in the Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog. However, during the month of September here, September 2022, Stampin' Up! Has introduced a coordinating set of dies as part of their Perfect Partners collection. So they've brought in 6 sets of dies to go with 6 different stamp sets between the annual and the mini catalog. And these die sets are, they've told us they're only available during the month of September of 2022. So if you like this, you can bundle them together during the month of September here and save 10%. But this die set is pretty incredible. There are a lot of pieces. Of course, we have our waterfall here, so I'm going to pull that out. We're going to be using that. We've got lots of trees. We've got some flowers. We've got different leaves. There is a little, there's a rock in here. We're going to be using that. There's a little bridge, lots and lots of different elements. And so hopefully I can show you a fun way to use these and not be too overwhelmed by it. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do, actually, I'm gonna pull out my waterfall stamp and we're gonna stamp that first. That's gonna give us some placement. So we know where we want to put everything else. Everything kind of focuses around this waterfall. All right, so we're gonna stamp this first here in some Tahitian Tide ink. I'm gonna go up towards the top left and just stamp that right up there. All right, and then my mountains will come off each side. We'll have the trees, little houses down here on the bottom. All right, so that gives me a visual. In the meantime, I'm also going to pull in a second piece of basic white. This one's a little longer because I didn't trim it down. This is the piece we're going to be doing our die cutting from. So I'm going to stamp my waterfall image here. All right, this one is for the die cutting. And while I'm at it, I'm also going to die cut the piece for my sentiment. I'm going to use the Stylish Shapes dies. We're going to use the 3rd size circle. All right, that'll give me a bit of a 2-for-1 here. I can die cut both my waterfall and my sentiment label at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to pull these in here. Get everything lined up. Okay. Sandwich my plate on top. All right, and then I'm going to run these through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Okay, a little snap, crackle, pop. Okay. And here we go. So that'll be ready for the sentiment. Okay, there's our waterfall. Okay. Now I'm going to pull in a piece of scrap, just a piece of chipboard here, because to add the additional color to the waterfall, we're going to be using some Pool Party ink. And I'm going to pull in my blending brush, and we're going to just blend this color onto our waterfall. So you can add as much or as little as you want. You kind of start off the edge and start working your way up. Okay, so that gives me a nice blend of color on there, a little two-tone. Okay, so we've got that piece. All right, so the next thing we also need to do here on our scrap of basic white cardstock, we need to stamp our little houses. And for that, I'm using the Ringed with Nature stamp set. This is actually a bundle that's in the mini catalog as well. It comes with a set of dies and even a hybrid embossing folder. I say hybrid because the die actually fits inside the embossing folder and you can cut and emboss at the same time, which is pretty cool. But for today's card, we're just using the little house. So we've got the little house image and then our roof line. Okay, so we'll grab a second block for this. Now the houses in Norway, at least from the pictures I've seen, are quite colorful. So we're going to be stamping one in some Sweet Sorbet, new in color to go with the Tahitian Tide. All right, and then we're going to be using Starry Sky for our second little house. I just need to make sure I clean my stamp here in between so I don't transfer the red ink to the blue ink. Just give that a bit of a scrub. I know it looks like my stamp is still a little red. The red pigment in the stamp sometimes will stay in the or in the ink will stay in the stamps a little bit, turn some kind of a pink color, but that's okay. It is clean and it will not affect the functionality of the stamp. So I'm just stamping these here around the edge of my scrap paper. All right, and then again, a full supply list is on my blog at justbcreativecardiology.com. Okay, we're at the house. Now we need our roof, and we'll be using some soft suede for that. And come down here. Okay, it did pretty good. Lining those up. Perfect. All right, now there is not a die for the little houses. So I will um, be using my paper snips to trim these out, but it's not too bad. So we're gonna just come up at the edge of our house, right up along the roof. This is all straight cuts, so nothing too fussy. Oops, come on here. There we go. Okay, I can come down the edge of the roof. Oops. Cut in just a little bit down the side and across the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to flip that over because I'm going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals to pop this up. All right, again, it's the second house the same way. I'm excited to see these little houses in Norway, all the different colors. It's a nice bright pop of color against the landscape. If you've been to Norway, please leave me a comment. Let me know. I really don't know what to expect. I've started a Pinterest board so I can keep track of all kinds of tips and ideas, but I'm thinking somehow it might be a little bit like Alaska. We're going in the spring, so like I said, late May, which is supposed to be a good time of year. So there is possible that we'll still have see some snow on the mountaintops, but hopefully the weather should be pretty good. May is one of the least rainy months in Norway from what I've researched. So I did put a couple of dimensionals on the back of my little houses and I'm going to save those for when we're ready to pop them onto our main panel here. All right, actually I can pop some dimensionals onto the back of our waterfall as well. Okay, so I'm gonna save those. Now the next thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna bring in my scrap piece again, and we're going to stamp the mountains on the sides of the waterfall here. So we have a left and a right stamp for that, and then we've got several little trees. Okay, so when it comes to this, we are going to get another block here. Okay, so we're gonna stamp these darker parts in soft suede to add some definition to the mountains. All right, let's see. This is going to be on the right side here. Okay. And then do this piece for the left side. Now, what's interesting about these stamps as well is they're actually reversible. So they are designed so that you can actually flip them over. So you have the detail on one side and then it's solid. We're going to use the flat back from the other. So let me just clean these real quick so I don't get my blocks all dirty. But we've got this here. I'm going to flip it back over so that I've got the flat side up, and I'm going to use some crumb cake ink. All right, so a little bit lighter brown. And I'm going to come in and essentially restamp over my detailed image. So it stamps pretty dark. It actually is going to dry just a little bit lighter. Okay, so we'll do this with the next one as well. Make sure I clean it first. Okay, then flip it over here. And stamp in the crumb cake ink. Okay, align that up. Okay, stamp that. So we can see it's starting to come together a little bit. Okay, so we've got the mountains. Next thing we're going to do is start stamping some trees. All right, so we've got a couple different tree images in here. So a little two tree, and then there's a smaller one that's just a single tree with two little bushes. So we're going to use both of these. All right, so we're going to do a couple of double trees. We're going to stamp these in Old Olive ink. So I'll put a single up here for now. All right, so we're going to stamp our doubles in Old Olive ink. We're just going to come in all around our landscape here. Okay, even down here amongst the... All right, so just kind of randomly stamped some of these little double trees in Old Olive. And then we're going to come in with our single tree. And we're going to stamp this one in Garden Green. So we've got two shades of green, the light and the dark, the Old Olive and the Garden. Okay. So then we're going to come in here and stamp right on top. Okay, we're going to add a couple of these in here. That's okay. This is kind of a collage effect of sorts. Okay. So that gives us some of the greenery here coming down off the mountainside. All right, so now that we've got all the stamping parts done, we can actually adhere our card front to the card base. Okay, and then we can start to put on some of our die cut elements. All right, so this is going to go right on the front of the card. Okay, and we can already see the brown, the crumb cake with the espresso, or the crumb cake with the soft suede is already drying just a little bit lighter. Okay, so we're going to, of course, put our waterfall right down the center. So it's coming out of the mountains. I guess it's kind of a, I should have pulled it down just a little bit because it's kind of popping up from the mountain. Oh well, you get the visual. All right, so gonna go ahead and put on our little red house. This reminds me of a Dr. Seuss here. We have one house, two house, red house, blue house. Look at that. All right, it's coming together. So for our sentiment here, I'm going to use, it's going to be Fab from the Cottage Rose stamp set. All right, this is also a bundle. Stamp set is called Cottage Rose. The collection is called the Abigail Rose stamps and dies. Love that. All right, that's actually one of the bundles that will be used in Stampin' Up's World Card Making Day event coming up on October 1st. If you order that bundle during the month of September, Stampin' Up will actually send you a free package of iridescent pearls, which is kind of fun. Free gift from Stampin' Up. just for buying a stamp set. Love that. All right, so I could keep this nice and crisp white, but since my blending brush still has a little bit of Pool Party ink, I'm just gonna come in around the edges. I did not re-ink this. This is just some of the excess ink already on here, and I'm just going over it a little bit just to soften it up. Again, we'll put a couple of dimensionals on here. And I'm going to overlap this with my waterfall a little bit. Okay, so we're not quite done yet. We need some additional elements. So we're gonna pull in this little row of trees, this little tree die here, as well as the rock. And we're gonna die cut those from a little bit of, we've got some basic gray cardstock for our rock and some garden green for our trees. Okay, so again, we'll pull in Stampin', Cut, and Emboss. I could do these both here at the same time. We'll just give our little row of trees and then our rock here. Okay. Place that on top. Gonna quick run that through on the screen. Okay, here we go. There's our rock. And what's cool, can you guys see the texture on that as well? There we go. There's the lighting is a little better. So it cuts and embosses. And then with our little trees here, there we go. I'm just gonna pop them off. All right, let's pull in our dimensionals again. We're gonna put one dimensional on the back of our rock. And stick this down here at the base, the lower left. Okay, and then with these little trees, I'm gonna use the edge pieces from my dimensionals, trim right along the edge, and then just kind of cut them in half, again, to give yourself some little tiny skinny pieces. And these work perfectly for right on the trees. So we're gonna do one up here by our sentiment. And then we've got oops, here we go. Tall one we can place behind the rock. And then got one more skinny little piece here for our tiny tree. And we'll put that one up by the house behind the rock as well. All right, so to finish this all off, we'll use a few of the fine sparkle adhesive gems. I'm going to use the Pool Party color. Aren't these pretty? And add just a couple of sparkles here to our sentiment piece. And there we have it, our Waterfall Canyon Norwegian inspired card here. I hope you've enjoyed this project today. Thank you so much for stamping with me. Thank you for your Stampin' Up! Orders with me. That being said, I still have my host code here for September, BJS3EWXG. So appreciate that. And for all my international viewers as well, thank you so much for subscribing to my channel, for your thumbs up, your likes, and for sharing. So thank you to all of you, my customers, my viewers, my Creative Cardiology team members. I hope you've enjoyed today's project. And thank you to Stampin' Up! For the fabulous product that they give us to work with. And I look forward to sharing more with you in the upcoming year. All right, thank you so much. Bye-bye.